I think Ricky Gervais altered comedy forever. I don't have to tell anyone how impactful The Office was, but he's had other moments of brilliance, like that moment in Extras when David Bowie is improvising a song about Gervais.
Not chubby little loser. No. Pathetic little fat man.
The moment in Life's Too Short when Liam Neeson interviews to play comedic roles.
That's a backstory we didn't agree on beforehand.
That's improv though, isn't it? You sort of go with the flow.
I don't take notes.
Now, note that these shows were collaborations with Stephen Merchant and Ricky's stand-up work is not. Now, having said all that, Ricky Gervais did say this all by himself at the Golden Globes to Leonardo DiCaprio. The joke itself here is pretty good, but the tag is lethal.
Once upon a time in Hollywood, nearly 3 hours long, Leonardo DiCaprio attended the premiere, and by the end, his date was too old for him. So... even Prince Andrew's like, come on, Leo, mate, you know. You're nearly 50, son.
Gervais's new special is not great. It's called Armageddon. It's on Netflix. Link below. Gervais wants you to be outraged by it. He is convinced that you will be outraged by it. But I think, with respect, considering all the great work in his past, most people are going to be bored by it. Let's dig into it a bit and see what's going on.
My last show, Supernature, dropped on Netflix last year. Big backlash, wasn't there? Big backlash. People going, you can't say that. You can.
This kind of boils down the whole problem with this special. Gervais is about the same level of provocative as he was 10 years ago. But the cruelty profiteering movement has pushed the boundary of what can be said very far. It's a race to the bottom, and while Gervais has been a contender in the past, he's now getting outpaced by guys like Segura and Rife. Now, note that I do not condone this race. I don't want to go to the bottom. It just happens to be profitable, and these guys want that profit. Gervais spends a lot of time around the word woke. The word is so hack that everyone from farthest right to the most liberal left turns off when they hear it. Gervais should know that. As a result of choosing the word woke and its tiresome baggage, all of his I'm so rich and such a great comedian bluster, which has always been a part of his persona, feels a bit like a parody Ouroboros mocking itself from inside its own ass. Not that anyone would ever dare parody Ricky Gervais.
Battles, tempests, bit dated. Wrong thing to say. Oh, don't care. Said it now, say.
My least favorite part of Gervais's persona is his fascination with and platforming of his nameless critics, and there is some of that to be had in this special too.
Traditionally, the word fascist meant a member of a far-right authoritarian regime that uses militarism and violence to suppress individual rights. Now, the word fascist can mean liked a Joe Rogan tweet.
Is it fair to call Gervais a fascist for liking a Rogan tweet? I mean, probably not, but let's see the tweet. Regardless, who cares what someone called Ricky Gervais? Why does Ricky Gervais care? What are we doing here? Gervais also spends some time congratulating himself for using the R word to describe differently abled people. The big reveal of the bit is at the end he uses it non-ironically. Wow, what a surprise. This is like watching your boss get drunk at your holiday party, say some borderline inappropriate stuff, and then at the end, when he's really drunk, just be gloves off but hands-on inappropriate. At no moment during this performance did a single person think that wasn't where this is going.
I did see one thing recently on YouTube, actually. Do you know the little fella from Game of Thrones, the actor Peter Dinklage? Do you know Peter Dinklage?
As I said at the top, he worked with Warwick Davis to make Life's Too Short, which was a hilarious show. But why is Gervais getting into this? Also, he didn't just see this on YouTube because Dinklage's comments happened nearly 2 years ago. Nothing else has happened in the last 2 years, Rick? Gervais then dips back into his DeSantis-approved joke bag for some critical race theory material.
Critical race theory, have you heard of that? Being taught in schools now, particularly in trendy areas like LA, right?
You're better than this, Ricky. Miles better. There are some moments in the show that are fun, like the one about the Viking heading off to war and the story about misleading his partner Jane about Old Yeller, but this special feels tired for what I think are two reasons. First, Gervais is playing for outrage, but he hasn't got an accurate grasp of the current standard of that outrage. I will say again that this is a pointless race that I'm 100% against, but he's still trying to run that race and doing it badly. Second, he's choosing topics that are already well-trodden by the least funny people in the world. Words and phrases like woke and critical race theory do not make anyone want to have a good time. I doubt that even the most red hat MAGA ding-dongs want to laugh when these words come up. Now, there are laughs on the audio of this special, but that's Ricky's audience, so they're gonna follow it. Production-wise, I think it's interesting that this special includes almost no reaction shots. We do not see the crowd laughing. That's a directorial choice, of course, and I don't doubt for a second that Gervais can draw a crowd, but why don't we see anyone laughing? The whole thing wraps up with a final few minutes musing about the term woke and what it means. Here's the conclusion.
If woke now means being a puritanical, authoritarian bully who gets people fired for an honest opinion or even a fact, then no, I'm not woke. Fuck that.
But that's not what it means, Ricky. Nobody gets fired. That was your point at the top of the show, Ricky, that there is no real consequence for stand-up comics. I mean, the unfettered gall of ending a special with an observation you already dismantled at the top. It's the dried up cherry on the top of a stale cake. I don't just think Gervais can do better, I know he can.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, like and subscribe, and maybe jump on the Patreon if you want to help me make more. And if you want to talk about comedy writing with people who are trying to do it in a constructive way, we also have a Discord channel.